Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are back in Ishgard with Lord Atterell and soon Sir Emeric, I think, to continue our Magic DPS Rolequest and search for profane Fafnir. Only justice, only vengeance. There's the excellent timing as ever. Deacon Clem has just sent word that Bishop Vartino will see us now. By which I mean right this instant. It is extremely short notice, I know, but it would not do to miss the opportunity to learn how he and Vaindro may be connected. Not wishing to keep his grace waiting, Lord Emeric is already on his way to St. Raymond's Cathedral. Come, let us hurry out there, ourselves. There's a full glad that he could join us. It seems his grace is yet to arrive. My lords, I'm so sorry. I informed his grace that you were making your way hither, but shortly before you arrived he recalled that he had urgent business and had to leave the cathedral at once. He cannot have gone far, though, so if you wish to search for him in the hopes you can still steal a moment of his time, to grant us an audience only depart with such haste? What could be so pressing? His grace is yet to return, I'm afraid. There he is. I found his grace this way. Well now, but even the savior of Ishgard should be here. Your grace, perhaps this is simply our misunderstanding, but we were under the impression that you had granted us an audience. Lord Speaker, rest assured, I was just about to return to the cathedral. There's no need, your grace. This will not take long. As you may have heard, we are investigating a young man named Vaindro. Is he known to you? No, I cannot say he is. With the exception of a former Archimandrite, I'm sure I know no one by that name. But mine and the archbishops are known to many, yes? Perhaps his youth took inspiration from public service over which we presided? Goodly soul that he is? Full glad that his faith was comfort to him in sickness, and I pray to alone that he will soon be found in good health. Now then, if there's nothing else, I shall return to my duties. Fear not, your eminence. I shall carry on your legacy. We have completed the preparations as per your instructions, but are you certain this will work? It will. It must. Lord Emeric spoke the truth when he revealed the Archbishop sought primal powers to strengthen the people's faith. I could not bring myself to believe it. Not at first, but in the course of cataloguing His Eminence's personal articles, I came upon his journal. Therein he had written that through abundant effort and fervent prayer, it is possible to make gods of man. All the power he required lies in this place, this Azizla. By channeling the essential elements into the soulless flesh and sword we found. We shall summon forth King Forden and his Knights 12, and by his blessing Ishgard shall be restored to its former glory. What is this? It's just an ordinary man, scarcely changed from before. His Eminence. I must protect. No. No, this isn't right. Confound it, perhaps I overlooked something. I must return to the Holy See and review the journal. Your Grace, what shall we do with this thing? Leave it. There's a failure without use or value. The denizens of this place will deal with it soon enough. Desiree, are you well? Were you perchance granted a vision of a past? An attempted summoning of King Ford and his Knights 12? Your Grace, you should know full well that summoning is strictly forbidden. You will accompany us to the congregation and explain yourself. I have dedicated my life to the Church, conducted my affairs in accordance with the Scripture, and taught others to do likewise. But you took it all from us, tore down everything that defined us. You cannot know how it feels to have your very existence rejected, to be forsaken by your community, to be denied by your society. Well, I deny you and this justice. I deny in Ishkat where the Church has no place. I refuse to accept it, do you hear me? I refuse to accept it! Your Grace, no! But it should come to violence yet again. Would that your hand had not been forced, my lord. Deacon Clem should not be alone at this time. I shall remain with him while tending to the aftermath. When things are settled, I will return to the congregation. Pray go on ahead and get some rest. How fares the Deacon? Well enough, given the circumstances. Though understandably shaken, he is more determined than ever to help his fellows. Truly, he is possessed of a stout heart. But to think that even a member of a synod could succumb to despair and turn. The crisis gripping the Church is far graver than I had imagined. In pushing for such an abrupt separation of religion and state, we may have exacerbated the growing divide between the clergy and the general populace. Desiree, will you recount in full that which you witnessed in your vision? that you should seek the use of one of Alak's unholy abominations to create a primal. Yet that which manifested was not like the being you fought, but rather retained the form of a man, one driven by the desire to protect the Archbishop. We can safely assume the bishop didn't have sufficient ether. Bereft of Nidok's eye, the sword Ascalon no longer has such power. Nor does that of a warring triad remain to be harnessed, thanks to your valorous intervention. But if the summoning failed, how did the clone come to possess life? And what purpose drives it? Lack of ether notwithstanding, the necessary components were present for a summoning. Perhaps the ritual itself was a success, and the vessel, though imperfect, arose as a champion of the Archbishop. Yet how did he come to be in the Central Highlands? You believe that this clone of a man who became a Blasphemy are one of the same? Nay, I merely speculate, yet considering what we know of a clone in Vaindro, it seems a likely possibility. Whatever truth may be, it will not elude us forever, but first we must lay some groundwork for the next phase of our investigation. God's permitting, we'll have news to share along, so pray look in on us when you can. Let's continue right now. Wills unending. Faith unbending. Desiree, you are ever a sight for sore eyes. Ill tidings, my friends. I dispatched the Temple Knights to find the clergyman who aided in Bishop Vartinor's summoning attempt. Regrettably, when confronted, all turned had to be put down. Without their account, then how to ascertain that the clone and Vaindor are the same individual? Maintaining the assumption that they are, perhaps we should instead consider how Vaindor may have found his way to Kurthus. According to Desiree's vision, he was abandoned in Azizlar. But what did he do afterwards? Then there is but one way to ascertain the truth. We follow his trail. I shall go and search for the clone in Azizlar. If he's still there, then we are dealing with a different individual. A splendid idea. We leave a floating continent in your capable hands. Meanwhile, Desiree and I shall retrace Vaindor's steps whence he first appeared. Upon being found in the Central Highlands, he was taken to Camp Dragonhead. Let us begin by making inquiries there. Theobalin. Investigating the stranger we found, are you? I wasn't involved myself, so I can't tell you much about the fellow. But in case it is of interest, earlier the same day I caught sight of an airship flying dangerously low. It soon disappeared into a brewing snowstorm, looking none too steady. Your exchange with Theobalin has taught you about an airship flying low. Well now, if it isn't the late Lord Orshavan's dear friend, is there something you require? Ah yes, the mystery man. I was among those who tended him. He was not attired for the snow, much less the snowstorm in which he had been caught, and was suffering from frostbite. When people are extremely cold, they may mistakenly feel that they are warm at this robe. That may explain the state of undress. Your exchange with Nini has taught you about Vaindor's state when he was found. Ah, it is an honor to receive you. What brings you to our humble camp? An injured man who was found out in the wilds? Yes, I know the one. I was with a patrol that chanced into him north of here, at Providence Point. He was unconscious and in a bad way, and we hurriedly bore him back to camp. After doing what we could for him, we sent him on to the city. Your exchange with Yell has taught you about where Vaindor was found. There you are. Were you able to learn out of interest? Where he was found? About an airship? And how he was dressed. A mysterious man found collapse of an airship was seen flying low. Yes, the accounts I heard are consistent with yours. I for one am curious about the fate of this unknown airship. To that end I have arranged a pair of black chocobos for us, but more efficient to scour the area. We should contain our search to Providence Point, where Vaindor is said to have been found. If you're ready, let us be off. Once upon a time when this was the only flying mount. Maybe we should have waited until the weather clears up. Doing this during a blizzard is probably not healthy. Nothing so far. Let's continue northeast. The airship, and in front of it, profane Fafnir. By the theory, it's for blasphemy. His Eminence must protect His Eminence. Ah, you're finally awake. Alone be praised. How are you feeling? Strong enough to speak? Can you tell me your name? My name is Zephyrin? Yeah, he looks like Zephyrin, but no, he's not him. No. Zephyrin? No. Cherubot? Was it Velgin? Polcrane? So many names swirling in my mind and voices that reject them. Is there none they will accept? Are you alright? Yeah, Cherrybird was the one who killed Vaindro. Vaindro. My name is Vaindro. Well now, that's the same as our infirmary. I dare say fate has guided you to us. So, Vaindro, if you're feeling up to a little conversation, can you tell me about yourself? Anything else you remember? Anything at all? A proud Sauna's house Desmal? Nay. Devout servant of Helone who lives for rush of battle? The pleasure of inflicting pain? Retention of a maiden to fight beside my brothers in arms? A lowborn one whose very effort went unrewarded, whose very name disqualified him from ever leading the Temple Knights. But his eminence raised me up, granted me a place at his side. On that day forth, I pledged my sword to his service, pledged my very being, my life to be offered up in defense of his. I am a knight of a Heavensward, sworn to protect and serve the Archbishop. Oh, you're a knight? Forgive me if that sounded rude, but I had no idea. And while I realize your memories may be a bit muddled, I'm afraid I must inform you that the Heavensward have not been seen in quite some time, and are presumed dead, and the Archbishop, well, he is most certainly no longer of this world. But the important thing is you are safe now, and we will help you get back on your feet. Speaking of which, let me bring you some food and water. You must be absolutely famished. The Archbishop dead? No, no, this cannot be. How can I still be alive when he is not? I must find him. Desiree! Another vision, I take it? Let's make for Ishgard. I expect the Lord Atterwell will return soon, if he has not already, and we should be glad to hear your tale. Desiree, I pray your search was more productive than mine own. Everyone is here, excellent. So, were you able to find our clone in Azizla? Nay, naught but the discarded Ascalon remained. How fared you with your own efforts in the Central Highlands? In the course of retracing Vaindor's steps, we came upon the wreck of a Soleil. I suspect he found the vessel abandoned in Azizla and tried to use it to return to Ishgard. So he crashed en route and was subsequently rescued by a patrol from Camp Dragonhead. So it would seem, and the Archbishop's airship was not the only thing we found. Profane Fafnir was there too. The creature chose to flee, but not before Desiree had a vision of Vaindor's past. Go on, my friend. Share with us what you witnessed. All the pieces fit, and it is as you surmised, my lord. Vaindor and the clone are one the same, and in his despair he turned into the Blasphemy. Yet the confusion he exhibited when asking his name. It is as if he wasn't sure of his own identity. According to the science, primals retain the memories of their previous incarnations. From this, it may be assumed that the clone harbors the memories of all those who became King Thordan and his Knights 12. Though he struggled to reconcile these conflicting memories, he managed to settle on the name Vaindor. The voices within were clearly in agreement when facing Desiree, the mere sight of whom drove a Blasphemy to flee. Above all, however, they share the desire to protect the Archbishop. This desire was seared into Vaindor's very being when he learned that he no longer had a purpose. The Heaven's Ward took up arms against us and Ishgard. By their hand were we robbed of one of our finest knights and a dear friend. Even so, I would not wish such a terrible fate upon them. The self-same fate inflicted upon full many clergymen, and the fate I fear ordinary citizens will succumb to if we fail to act. The people will not soon forget the betrayal of our church's leadership, nor should they, but absent the comfort and stability once afforded to them by the institution, many have become lost and are all too vulnerable to despair. The people don't have to forget, but they need to move forward. I thought as much myself, my friend, but to hear you say it as well. Indeed, when the ground upon which we stand crumbles, we must find the strength to move forward, even should it cause us pain to do so. Lord Atterell, at the next house session I shall call for an ecumenial council to be held. My lord, such a gathering is reserved for... Oh, you intend for the church to codify new doctrine? Since the separation of religion and state, we have refrained from interfering in church affairs. But if a church is to remain a part of Ishgardian society and continue serving the people, it must consider its role and formally address recent revelations. I would call for this council not as the Lord Speaker, but as a humble adherent of a faith. Long had I considered whether such measures were necessary, but lacked the courage to set them in motion. I now have it, thanks to you. I shall tend to the necessary preparations at once. Among other things, we must reach out to those of the clergy who are amenable to reform. I ask for your patience in the meantime. Okay, and I make another cut here, and we continue this another time. Until next time, then, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.